Testing, 1, 2, 3. Welcome in, guys. We are in a good position today. We're live on TikTok, so welcome in for all of you. This is going to be another good episode. We're going to start talking more about like the actual implications behind technology and AI and things like that. And I'm just going to start covering news because nowadays it's like the world is moving so fast that we really don't have a choice. We kind of have to just keep up with everything, right? It's only going to get kind of crazier from here. So I'm talking to you guys on TikTok. I got the camera set up here, and this is going to be the Ascended podcast. Really, it's not going to be a weekly thing anymore. We're going to just be going day to day and talking through a lot of these challenges and problems. So, yeah. Again, if you guys don't know much about me, my name is Caleb Schulke. Military, right? I've been associated with military. Very into AI and technology development as a whole. I have an agency that helps build automations for people. I'm obviously on Spotify. I'm the host of the Ascended podcast, so I have a bit of credibility in this field. And I wanted to just kind of share updates. And this is going to be that space for you guys to get regular knowledge, right? Whether you guys are watching on TikTok here on my device here, or if you guys are watching the actual streamed podcast, which is on my YouTube, my Instagram, that's on Rumble, things like that. I just want you guys to be present with everything going on. And yeah, so I'm still setting up the studio. I still got everything going on here, but you guys that are watching on TikTok right here specifically, you're on a different device than everybody else on my main camera. So the quality is going to be a little bit less, I guess, good for you guys. But again, go on Rumble, go on YouTube, any of those other platforms, you can check me out. But let's talk about the first bit of news really related to technology and where we're at here. So it just came out, the United Kingdom government, the UK, right? They launched what's called Humphrey, Humphreyi AI, across civil service. So England and Wales are deploying what's called Humphrey, and it's trained by OpenAI, aka the people behind ChatGPT, Anthropic, and Google. Okay, and Anthropic was a big tech kind of guru that was pushing for kind of against OpenAI, but also just pushing for the development of a lot of AI technology recently. Obviously, you guys know Google has been a leader in this space too, but its adoption is deep. Everything from just meeting transcripts to administrative tasks. Critics are warning about like IP misuse and bias. I know that's all like big jumbo terms to you guys, but here's why it matters. Government level AI isn't just theoretical anymore. It's embedded at scale. So competition and around public grade AI will skyrocket, making early adoption of it kind of a credential. So again, still a lot of big words, but essentially the government is using AI. The government is going to be in the UK, right? And again, this is just like a precedent for the world. The government is getting into AI more. That means that data collection, data analysis, things like that, it's going to be happening at a much broader scale. So I want you guys to be aware that like your data and everything you put out online is going to be vetted, it's going to be organized, sorted, and decisions will be made off of that. So even if you're just posting on social media, if you're just commenting on someone's Facebook post, theoretically, right, especially you guys have seen it nowadays, like there's big tech companies kind of working together on a lot of these things, building databases, joining forces together. That's going to mean that your data is at risk of being utilized in a way that could classify you or rate you in a way that could affect things. I'm not saying this is happening yet, but I mean, picture a world, right? Like you're trying to get a mortgage, you're trying to get approved for a loan, and the bank's like, ooh, I don't know if we like this person. They don't really fit our values. For all we know, that could be the future, right? Like, so being cautious of the fact that your data and your governments, right, can control these things. It matters. Imagine automating your hiring, though, your client onboarding, or your like client relationships. Like we're outsourcing HR, we're outsourcing all these like subtasks that a lot of like smaller entry level jobs and businesses would be doing. And that's not future talk, right? That's like your next. That's an opportunity, right? For a lot of people, you could word it like that. You have an opportunity to step into a market and make a lot of money online using resources like that. But at the same time, too, it could be something that kicks you out of a job. It could be coming for a job that you already have. So I want you to be aware that technology is out there, it's progressing rapidly, And if you're not keeping up with the trends, you're going to be kind of left in the dust a little bit from it. So I want to look out for you guys. Again, part of the reason we have this podcast here. Let's get into our second piece of news. So this is actually still in relation to the United Kingdom. Ironically, I know I'm in the US, but so there's somebody called Aardman, Aardman, and it's the studio behind Wallace and Gromit. If you guys ever watched that like kids show, or I guess just like cartoon show when you were growing up, it says that the UK's AI proposals that allow copyrighted content usage unless opted out. So basically, you know those little terms and condition things you guys mark? Well, basically, the UK has proposals saying right now that you can use copyrighted like content, right? You can use it in your marketing. You could use Wallace and Gromit unless you opt out. Could bankrupt firms due to enforcement costs. Yeah. So basically, it's too hard to regulate that stuff, and it could regulate, or it could basically put people under the bus trying to keep that going. And sorry, somebody wanted to come up on stage here. Obviously, if you're watching on TikTok, drop some likes here on Rumble, you guys too. But so the discussion angle I wrote down is: if even Wallace and Gromit aren't safe, nothing in your vault is. Build with transformation, not just reposts. All right. Yeah. All right. Let's get into our third piece. So this one's a little bit interesting. State level AI oversight risks national security. And again, I'm not trying to get political. That's not really my stance here, but I do want you guys to be aware. An AI strategist named Katrina Rossini, I believe, warns that delaying state-level AI regulation could expose the U.S. to cyber threats, crucial for infrastructure like water, grids, emergency systems. And I want you guys to be very clear on something. The infrastructure we have in the U.S., and again, not political. This is not like an official view or anything. I'm just stating an actual fact. Our infrastructure has been built decades before now. It hasn't been upgraded because we haven't placed a huge value on it. Our water cleaning systems, right? They don't even do a good enough job a lot of times in the U.S. Electricity grids are decades old. Even our like nuclear launch codes are multiple decades old. Like the systems that reinforce our country have not been updated, especially at the rate that you're seeing commercial industry update AI. And so it's like the tools to break the system, or that could be leveraged against the system, right, are excelling rapidly, but the system's defense, right, the offensive side that could be used against us is progressing, but our defense and our infrastructure is still staying the same. So basically that just means that the difference between how easy it is to break in and how defensive our position is increasing, right? There's a huge difference there. So we could be attacked at any point. And that means that like states, right? And again, coming down to the state level, they're saying that states need to independently decide based on where their infrastructure is at, what they should do about it. It's really hard for the federal government to do that just because it's too vast, right? To really have an accurate knowledge of everything. So again, not my official view, just something that's going around. And it matters because governance isn't an afterthought. It's something we do to prevent issues from coming up in the first place. And so it shapes what we build and how we act in the day-to-day world. So any AI stack that we're developing, right, technology, especially working into our own governments, it has to be compliant and it can't just be functional, especially when we don't know everything. That poses a huge risk because for all we know, AI could be plotting to take down our electrical grid and we wouldn't know it. We can think we have it regulated, but it's like, I'm trying to think of an example. It's like a caveman finding fire, right? And thinking that it has it mastered. And then it like holds his hand too close and burns itself. And whose fault is that, right? Because you find fire and you think you have control over it because you were the one who made it. But that doesn't mean you mastered it, right? Just because we discovered AI, and a lot of people aren't even saying we invented AI. It's just that we discovered it. Like AI was always out there. We just tuned into the frequency that let us find AI. Kind of like electricity, right? Or gasoline, right? Like all these technologies were already out there. We just didn't find them yet. So where I was going with that was just because we understand how to harness something doesn't mean we understand the full extent of how to use it, okay? There's a difference there. And so your automation tool with AI is only as safe as the frameworks it lives in. Now, I want that to be the big point of this article. Your automation tools, your little AI assistant, your Snapchat fucking friends, whatever it is, right? They're only as safe as the framework it lives in. My Snapchat AI lives within Snapchat, and therefore my Snapchat AI is as safe as Snapchat makes it to be. And if Snapchat said there's no limits and you can take over the world, well, it could hypothetically do that because it's not restricted. And so we're not just placing our faith in AI, we're also placing our faith in the people behind the AI. And for you guys that are building businesses and have taken any interest in my content or anything I do, obviously, you know, I have an agency, I have a safe space that we work on technologies like this. That's why it's so important to pick the right people and pick the right companies. Do you trust ChatGPT? Do you trust Google, like Bard, right? Or Gemini? Do you trust the makers behind the system? If you do, great. If you don't, don't. But again, not my official view. I just want to say that you should look very carefully into, again, not just what the tool is and how great it is, but who's behind it. Am I clear? Okay. Instagram, what's up? YouTube, what's up? John, I saw your comment there. Someone just said we don't outsource. Yeah, I don't know. What do you mean by that? What do you mean we don't outsource? Like our AI or our tasks, or I don't know. You're gonna have to define that a little bit more. While you're doing that, thanks for everybody on TikTok that's commenting. I see you guys are joining here, so just like the live stream. It helps me grow a lot. It helps us get more publicity, and obviously everything I'm doing right here is for you guys. But I'm gonna get into the next news article. We are already starting to yap a little bit and get a little bit heated, so it gets intense on here. But number 4, Uber. You guys love Uber, right? It's great. So I was just hearing the other day, somebody's like, "Oh, I paid $50 to Uber across probably a 25-minute drive late at night to get home from the bars." Uber is getting so expensive, and in my personal opinion, I will actually put my opinion out here. I think that Uber is kind of greedy. I've talked to Uber drivers that were giving me rides across town, and they're just I paid $25 for a ride one time, and I'm like, "How much of this are you getting?" They're like, "Yeah, I'm getting $12 out of it." And then it's well, so Uber's keeping more than you are for when you're doing all of the labor. It's your car, and then you're expected to do your own repairs and stuff. And that seems a little bit effed up to me. But anyway, let's get into the actual article. I'm done yapping on Uber, but Uber and Wave, I guess is what it's called. WAYVE. Yeah, WAYVE. That's kind of a weird, name, but I'm trying to. By the way, my Instagram my live on Instagram shut down, so I'm trying to also get it back up at the same time, guys. So appreciate you guys for hanging out here. Uber and Wave plan a 2026. Again, 2026. That's very close to happening. It's 2025 right now. So next year, Uber is planning a driverless robo-taxi rollout in London. Again, a lot of this news is UK for some reason. It just happens to be today's topic. I think my camera's a little cloudy here. There we go. So Uber and Wave are planning a 2026 driverless taxi rollout. Expected to create, it says create, right? 38,000 UK jobs and add 42 billion pounds to the economy. Again, they're using pounds because they're a little bit weird. I'm cleaning my camera here, by the way, because it's a little blurry. But yeah, so that's what they're saying, all right? And obviously, I don't even know if I need to read this, but why does it matter? Well, AI isn't just virtual, and as we've known for a while, right? You've seen the Tesla bots, you've seen the physical robots that are doing work now. It's physical. Edge-to-edge automation is happening now. Edge-to-edge, right? It means we're building actual infrastructure behind this. AI isn't just some ChatGPT assistant that is your little French lover that you can talk to on the phone that can hype you up, girl queen, slay boss, and make you feel good. It's an actual physical thing nowadays. So consumer trust is at risk right now, is what I'm saying. Here's what I would actually recommend you guys do, right? You should actually use technologies like this and get onto this train, right? Because in my opinion, we're a huge, big ass world out here, and there's other people using AI. Like if the U.S. doesn't use it, China's going to use it. If China doesn't use it, Russia's going to use it. If Russia doesn't use it, the UK is going to use it. Guys, the world's huge. AI is inevitable at this point, in my opinion. And so pitch it, right? If robots are starting to drive tomorrow, why shouldn't your bots manage your client's operation? Why shouldn't I use AI to make this law firm better that I work at? Why shouldn't I use AI to manage like my sales better for the company I work at? That's how you stand out. And there, I guarantee the people in your office or that you work with or at your school are using AI. The teachers that are trying to limit it in school, it's great, right? But at this point, it's already too ingrained to let go of, right? And I don't think we will. And I'm not saying that's a good or bad thing. I think there's pros and cons, especially with how fast it's developing. I'm a little bit worried there, but I think that leverage that ability to say for the people that aren't caught up yet, we have created not only the biggest technology humanity has ever harnessed, but we've also created the biggest opportunity for the everyday person to change their life quickly. You can be an average Joe, and I could get on ChatGPT and I could ask it ways I can make money with AI. And it would say, go to your 85-year-old business owner downtown and say, hey, do you want some posters made up for your business? I'll make them for $20. It doesn't even have to be a lot of money. ChatGPT will make it in 5 minutes. And you can make money doing that. Guys, there's so many opportunities. And especially the old people that have money that aren't on this stuff, you start. You sell to old people, you sell to the people that have like experience and money from business already that need more resources and don't have the time to look into AI. You become that person, and that's how you set yourself apart. It's the 48 laws of power, right? Become irreplaceable. And when the days come that companies are going to start cutting people over AI, which you're already seeing in some ways now, in just indirect ways, you need to be the person that has the skill set that stands out. Otherwise, you're going to be a victim of whatever the company decides is best for it. And if you're not the one adding the most shareholder value, if you're the one taking the bathroom breaks, you're gone. And I hate to say it, but that's the way it is. And so I hate to go to that like negative side, right? That like fearful side, but use it to your advantage. Use the fact that AI is inevitable and that you have used it more than other people. If you haven't, then get into it and figure out the best way to add value with it, because there's other people that you work with or live with or whatever that aren't using it. And if you are the person that simply knows what's going on, you're going to win when this big flood, this big reckoning comes and takes out everyone, okay? And again, I'm not some conspiracy theorist. This is actually what's happening. So I just want you guys to be ready for it. I want you guys to win and have some sort of skill set that you can leverage for that. But let's go to number 5. So brings up my boy again, Mark Zuckerberg. So Zuck, Mr. Zuck, if you're on Instagram, I see he's probably watching me right now. He's probably like, who's this guy? What's he talking about? So Meta is pouring billions of dollars. I think the other day they just put like 12.9 or something billion dollars into one little update, like a lot of money. So clearly this company, one of the biggest companies out there, is betting a lot of its earnings on this technology. Not only do they have the resources to know more than you do, but they also have the resources to develop it. And if they're treating it as such a big thing, maybe I would too, okay? They're hiring talent from a company called Scale AI. They're expanding their infrastructure while OpenAI teams with Google Cloud, okay? Big tech, the message behind this is big tech is realigning, and there's a power shift happening with it, okay? Companies are making little packs to work together, which is good, right? Because that's how throughout history, right? You've had like steel companies partner with, construction companies, right? Things like that to put up infrastructure to make our country better. But AI companies and generators are competing for your attention and your data. We've known for a while that the algorithm's been different. That has changed. You are no longer rewarded for your individuality online. And that's kind of a problem I see with content creation. I understand, right, the shareholder value, the adding more attention span, right, capturing people on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whatever it is, for longer makes your platform more valuable because they can see more ads, they can interact longer, they can grow your platform with you. But the issue is when you're only focused on retention on your platforms, just like TikTok. I'm literally watching people join and leave and join and leave because you guys can't like stay on a live stream for a long period of time because to you guys it's like it's so hard to capture your attention into something because your brain is fried and it's trained on like just moving around all the time, and so it's so difficult for you people to really dial in on something, and that's exactly like what the platforms are trying to optimize for nowadays because it's such a rare thing. But where I'm going with this is we've lost the ability because we're now making content now to be playing along with the rules that we never even had a say in. The platform comes up with the rules of your video should be 6 seconds, they should be engaging, they should be high dopamine, right? And creators don't naturally want to make videos that are like that. There's like clickbaity stuff. But if you want to survive, you have to abide by the platform's rules. And so at the end of the day, are you really the content creator or are you somebody that's just subjected and playing the game the best, right? And you kind of have to be, right? Because again, you're not going to make your own Facebook overnight, but we're losing the sense of individuality that loses like the creativity behind some videos because you have to do what's trendy, right? And so when Zuck's chasing AIs, it's again with somebody with that much money, someone with that much influence is chasing AI, it's before everyone else. And so if you actually pay attention, if you actually take some time and you take your brain away from Fortnite, you take it away from looking at makeup tutorials on TikTok, and you take it away from, hanging out on the weekend and destroying your body, you actually study something important. You're going to realize that there's a lot of truth in the world. You just have to pay attention to it. And I think a lot of you guys are actually just distracting yourself on purpose. I think too many of you know the truth out there and you just choose to ignore it because you don't want to have to deal with it. But in reality, if again, these powerful people are chasing AI, like that's exactly where the world's going to go. While the world's distracted around different news, AI is what's growing. And you're not paying attention to it because you don't feel like it's important enough for you to care about. But if you did care about it and you actually gave a shit, that's what would have set you up for the next move in your life. And I guarantee the next 5 years, it's going to be all we talk about. And it's going to be controlling a lot of things. So use the same horsepower. That's your edge. Just smarter and leaner. Find a way to get involved in the space. Guys, it's like a rising tide affects all ships. And if AI and technology, right, is that tide that brings everyone up, then figure out a way to build your boat and reinforce it so when the tide rises, which is all the big players in the industry growing this space, you're naturally going to make more money with it because you started now. While everyone else is hopping off my live stream, going in and out, and you guys are the ones that stay and actually care and give a shit, you're going to be the ones that actually survive this wave. And you're not going to have everyone's not going to have a choice at the end of the day, but you're going to position yourself with money, resources, and knowledge to be the survivor. Okay? I hate to be all like Noah's Ark on you guys, but like that's where we're at. Okay? Let's go to number 6. We're going back to Europe for a second. We're talking about the European Union. So I don't know why a lot of this news is EU based, but I don't know. Again, like just like a court of law or a trial, right? What one country does, every other country looks at, because at the end of the day, nobody's really doing something unique. We're all just kind of pulling influence from each other. And so when we look at what the EU is doing, the EU is going to impact what happens in the US. It's going to impact even what happens in China. It's going to impact what happens in Korea. Like, it doesn't matter, guys. It's just we look at precedents just like we do in court cases from anywhere in the world, and that will drastically impact the way other countries act. So for the EU, right, they have something called the Strict AI Act. So they're letting fines up to 7% of global revenue for a company, which enforces transparency for models like ChatGPT. So essentially, like if they're not abiding by the rules that they said they were, and they're actually failing to, or they're lying about the fact on the data they're reporting, then they can get fined up to 7% of their revenue. And so regulation means compliance heavy backends are that like moat, right, that surround you. And so think about it, right? Like if your teacher said, well, just go out and give me the answers to this assignment, right? Then you're going to use ChatGPT, you're going to use Google, right? You're going to use whatever you can. When they say you can't use any of these resources, then you have to go open an encyclopedia. You have to read, you have to learn, right? So regulations, a lot of times, make sure that we do things in the safe way, especially since they want us to actually know what we're doing. And I think like my personal view is regulations are a lot of times good because regulations will force a company, will force a player to have to do it the right way and to slow the fuck down because nowadays we don't do that enough. And I think that will come back to bite us in the ass. Play it right and you're like a trusted partner though. You have the in and you're going to be good. So if you want, like, again, for you guys that are trying to make something happen, trying to get involved, if you want agency contracts in Europe, right? Because the internet's worldwide nowadays. You guys can make money as soon as today servicing people in Europe. You just need a certified stack. And basically, you need to start looking up something called GDPR. That is the AI audit. That's like the regulation that you need to start passing. And so again, it makes it harder though if you're new to figure out what the regulation is. So maybe a little bit of a barrier to entry, but I do think it's good in terms of protecting us from. The problem is, and I'll make this point real quick. The problem is every time you guys, and I've said this before, every time you trade convenience for something, it's usually your lack of privacy. And when you can pay for something with your palm print or your thumbprint, right? You're literally giving up your data, your biometric data, to be able to have convenience because you need less, right? Being convenient as a definition typically means that you don't need to do as much work. You don't need to bring as many things. You don't need to have as many credit cards on you. It's convenient, right? It's Apple Pay. We don't need a wallet. We don't need a credit card. But what are we giving up to have Apple Pay? Well, we're giving up data, and a lot of times like privacy data on ourselves. We're giving Apple the ability to have all of our credit card information. You've given one source all of your credit card information as a private company. And again, I'm not like here to take down Apple. I think Apple's really great a lot of times, but like just understand that creates risk, right? So like convenience is traded for privacy, but a lot of times when you give away privacy, you're adding risks to anything you're doing. And at some point, with enough convenience, that risk will come back to bite you in the ass. So again, not saying Apple's the enemy, right? I'm not saying they're bad, but like it could be a similar company that gets breached, right? And they have all your data because you've given it up for convenience. And now hackers on the internet, right, on the dark web, have all of your information. And it's just too many of you don't care about that, and that kind of pisses me off because at some point you're gonna have to care about it. Because I would say living in a world where we just assume that everyone is on our side is very unrealistic. And if you're not aware of that, then like you're part of the like psychotic state that has influenced a lot of things already. And it's like, well, you guys got to actually pay attention. You have to give a shit, or your life's going to be turned upside down because of one hacker group in fucking Massachusetts that decides to uproot the whole system. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think too many of you rush too fast into skipping through the terms and conditions and the privacy policy and things like that, and just assume that because it sounds convenient and that it hasn't been audited yet, probably because it's also so new, that it's got to be good for you. You know what I'm saying? If companies weren't structured the way they were, if companies weren't structured to care about revenue first, right, about shareholder value, then we'd live in a different world. But we don't. And so that just having a slight filter up is all I'm saying. It's going to be a little bit of that safety net. I would just pay attention to that a little bit. All right, we're going to talk about number 7 here. Let's get into it. So the U.S. Senate. All right, back to the U.S. Again, guys, not political views. I'm not supposed to be giving out political views here, but I'm just giving you the facts. And if you interpret that a certain way, that's up to you. But the U.S. Senate imposes a 10-year, what's called moratorium on state AI laws. All I'm going to say, because I want to be limited in what I say specifically on this, is the big, beautiful bill that you've heard about. Gotta be careful with my words. That big, beautiful bill has language in it that may give up some of these protections. And a lot of it is just snuck in there, right? They lifted up the stack and just snuck the language in there. So there are things out there that are pending, right? Pending resolution and pending discussion that people are not paying full attention to. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna give anyone like official views on it though. That's just the fact of what it is. That's not a statement, just a fact. But a federal moratorium on AI regulation has Congress in conflict with 260 plus state legislatures fighting to safeguard local citizens. So basically, just like in the New Jersey, Act and things like that, where you like way back in the day where you're like states' rights versus national rights, right? Kind of the same thing going on a little bit with AI. Like, whose responsibility is it to protect the citizens from AI? I think when I talk too much, I just start yawning. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like talking myself out, but the AI government tension can restrict or reorient your markets, is all I'm going to say. State openness versus federal inertia becomes the game. And so we've not only existed now in a world where you have countries pitting themselves against each other to develop AI, to develop artificial general intelligence, right? If you're not paying attention to AGI and ASI, I would very much so research what is artificial super intelligence and what is artificial general intelligence, and how are the two of these concepts related. Very briefly, to give a sentence or two, like I can't give the whole brief right here. We're in a race to create artificial general intelligence. AGI is the ability for, I guess I'll describe it in a way that is the way we've currently existed. So AGI, or ChatGPT, right? ChatGPT is the ability for a language model, right? Like OpenAI created to give us information on things that already exist in the world. And not only that, but can kind of draw conclusions based on those facts. And it seems really great, right? But there's still a development team at OpenAI. And that development team of engineers has created updates within ChatGPT to make it more efficient, to perform better, to give us more flexibility and better performance, right? There's still a human team deciding what ChatGPT can and cannot do. We are in a race to create AGI, artificial general intelligence, and that has the ability to code itself, right? Think fucking Ultron in Marvel movies, right? Like a robotic structure that can improve itself, that can heal itself, that can like generate updates and progress itself through lifetimes of evolution. And as soon as we create AGI, general intelligence around AI, right, that can improve itself, within, in my opinion, 5 to 10 minutes, it's going to create what's called ASI, artificial super intelligence, which is the ability for it to harness and fix every problem that humanity was incapable of solving. Sounds great, right? But no, because it's like, imagine an ant, right? Imagine a tiny little ant created a human being. And then the ant expects that human being to go and work in the best interest of the ant. Do you think that's really how it's going to work? No, because the second the human decides that anthill is in its way, it's going to kick it over. And the same thing is happening with ASI and AGI. Artificial intelligence, as soon as we create it, probably within 12 to 18 months, is going to decide whether or not humanity is efficient. And I can tell you guys right now, we have already decided as a human species that we are not efficient. We waste a lot of resources. We're not good. And if AGI or ASI wants to optimize for as many paper clips in the world as it can make. It's an actual study. Look it up, the paperclip experiment, or the hypothesis behind that. Whatever it decides is the best use of its resources, humanity is just a factor in that. And so we are literally rushing in an arms race between countries, China, Russia, the US, to create a technology that we are giving our full human control over to. That could shut down power grids, that could access nuclear launch codes, that could do whatever it damn well pleases because it's a million IQ smarter than a human being. And we can't even fathom its existence. We've essentially created a digital god. And states now are even competing with themselves to have different amounts of regulation behind them too. Where this is going, again, two messages. First of all, be very careful about AGI, ASI. OpenAI's team has said we regret what we've done. Like, they did not want to make this. They did not want to be in this game, start this race, but here we are. And I just want you guys to know, I love AI. I think it's going to massively change businesses, but if it's not regulated, if it's not controlled, I'm going to be the first. It's like me talking about Bitcoin in 2005. I'm telling you guys something's going to happen. And I'm going to sound crazy right now. I'm going to sound stupid. But in 10 years, come back and look at the same live stream. And I will guarantee you're going to have a different opinion on it. So if one state stops AI, though, this is happening at a micro level. While this competition for AGI and ASI is going on, at the same time, you have states saying, well, if Connecticut stops producing AI and involving AI, well, then that puts Wyoming at an advantage, right? It's probably backwards, right? Because Wyoming probably doesn't have any people in it. But where are you building, and who's your regulator tomorrow? So states are becoming competitive to, again, make their states better for their people. And not only that, but we, the people, right, are looking at the states and saying, well, these states are using these better systems. Maybe we should hop on the train. It's kind of like this FOMO effect, right? Where it's like, well, if this other state is more efficient in the short term, right, they're getting their convenience, even though, like I've already said, there's a price attached for convenience, then why isn't my state doing the same thing? And so you're going to lobby, you're going to push your regulation and legislature to produce updates to actually include the same things. And then all of a sudden they do it. And that's just how it's been happening, right? Because we want what the Joneses have. We're keeping up, right? But in terms of that, it's within our country. And so we can barely even stop the competition happening there. How are we going to stop a global market? So again, at this point, to me, AGI, ASI is it's coming, and it's not. We can't stop it. It will not be stopped. So the only option you have is to create opportunity for yourself, is to involve yourself with the tide rising, right, and create resources, create opportunity for yourself. And if we end up in this dystopian-ass world where AI does take over, which, in my opinion, is probably already happening in some ways, then you might as well have as much resources, as much money, as much effect from it as you can, because we're basically at mercy to it, right? And so governments, right, can sit there and talk for weeks and filibuster all they want, but an AI that can solve every single problem that Congress could have within 2/10 of a second is going to make that all irrelevant, because we can't keep up, which is why they're predicting too that, again, not my opinion, but because I can't be saying this stuff, but I will say that there are thoughts out there that governments are going to shift to be more and more authoritarian. Authoritarian, again, as we're going to have one central leader making decisions for our government, right? And you're seeing this trend toward authoritarianism talk. When AI takes over, it's going to have to be, because we can't keep up. It's how is it going to be man versus machine someday if the man is really just a collection of 435 congressmen trying to make one decision? You can't take that long. You can't be that. You can't even have one person versus a machine a lot of times. So you're going to have to make fast moves. And the only option we should really be pursuing right now is creating regulation before it even gets that bad, to stop ourselves from getting that entwined in it. But I don't know, guys. I seriously don't know. This is my business. I help you guys build AI systems the right way. That's what Ascend is about. We also consult you on how to use it properly. and how to actually win and not be, subjecting yourself to AI data schemes and things like that are going to F over your business someday. And also just what to even know is out there to help you be more efficient, how to do your math homework better, right? Like ChatGPT is great, but there's like 1,000 other models that could do your math homework better than that. But in terms of business, the same exact thing exists. I know all the systems. I help you guys set it up. We actually build our own systems for you guys to like sell things on your behalf, to close deals. And I have probably more experience in this industry than most of you guys, right? But I'm also saying I don't understand this, right? It's like going to me and I'm the one that can like light things on fire, right? I'm the caveman with the torch that has found fire. But if you ask me to explain how fire works, I'm still a damn caveman, guys. I don't know the structures behind the structures. And I don't even think OpenAI or ChatGPT knows how the fire works in this case. They've just harnessed the fire and they've gotten lucky enough to control it, or so we think, at least, in a way that's contained. So don't just rush into everything new. Find the right sources. Again, Ascend, my podcast, my community in my bio. It's free to join, or just you can join the paid one if you want to actually work on systems with us. But there needs to be a space where people can say, oh, why are we doing that? That looks a little bit weird to me. And maybe we should just not do that, because why do we need that? That might be a little bit dangerous in the long term. You need people to hold you accountable. You need people to actually have the knowledge of how to do things the right way. Otherwise, you put yourself in a bad position. Okay? That's all I'm going to say on that. Let's get into number 8. Let's get into number 9, actually. I don't really like number 8 because it's kind of on the same topic. Number 9 is global AI infrastructure spending explodes. I want you guys to just, like, in your head right now, just picture a number. How much do you think this one is called Invest AI? How much do you think they committed toward AI spending? 200 billion euros, which is like in US dollars is like, I don't know, it's like 250. I don't know. It's more than that. To AI data center build outs in Europe. Like, think about TikTok, right? With their server farms in Texas and all that. Right? But think about that for AI in Europe, with Macron and allies pledging major capital. So it's not just one company. It's like a conglomerate of different corporations that are partnering up to build physical AI infrastructure. Why does it matter? Well, massive investment means new pipelines to plug into. Models, again, ChatGPT, things like that are being hosted at scale using their nodes. So again, every time, why do we need these data farms? Let's just ask why for a second. We need data farms and we need hosting servers because ChatGPT is collecting data every single second. If you go into your settings, I guarantee it's going to have like 50 or so saved facts about you if you have a paid account. You're not just using the free thing. Well, it's collecting information on you. You see what information is collecting on you, but in reality, everything's kind of being collected on you because it has to process it all. It's all going through a server. It's all going through that. A lot of times probably being stored in some way. And so ChatGPT is learning from you. If you're deploying bots, if you're using AI, it's going to need GPU real estate, right? Nothing really is online, like in the cloud. In reality, in the cloud just means it's stored somewhere physical that you don't have to worry about. It's like a cloud, right? It's still technically a physical thing. You fly through it, right? It's just different density than an airplane, right? But it still exists, and it's not like something that's like a straight theoretical object. You need real estate. You need storage, just like a Bitcoin mining farm, right? It's not like Bitcoin is crypto, so when I mine Bitcoin, I'm just mining something imaginary. No, you actually physically have a server farm set up of these like $10,000, $15,000 mining machines. And who's funding that? Who's funding these farms, these server farms? Well, they're going up everywhere. And you better damn well know who's behind it, because the owner of that farm will be some of the most important people in the face of the earth, because they will control the most important data. Let's just say that. They're going to control everything you feed into AI, everything that you don't even think you're feeding it. When you talk to the iPhone, this is on an iPad right now. If you guys are on TikTok, you guys watching, you guys on my camera, right? It's being routed through my Mac. Like, data is being collected on things I'm saying. And I fully understand doing this, that the government is listening to me. They're recording me. There's companies, right? The data is it's going through a microphone. TikTok's processing it. It's being stored somewhere. And whether or not I think TikTok has my best interests at heart or not, I think that that data could be used against you, or it could be used for you. You would want it to be used for you, but we don't know who owns these farms. And while you guys are so focused on every little headline on the news about political fights and things like that, in the background, these things are happening. And too many of you guys stay at that surface layer of like shit to keep you distracted that really doesn't matter. Who's winning the NBA finals? Go Pacers, Like, but who's actually going behind the scenes and making moves? Well, that stuff keeps you distracted at the bars. You don't see TVs at bars talking about AI infrastructure development, but I'm fucking here doing it because I actually care about you guys. So again, pay attention, know who's behind this stuff, and look a little bit into what their motives are. Do they actually care about you? What do you think is going on in their heads with their resources? If they have everything in the world, if they have billions of dollars, how much do you think they give a shit? Let's talk about number 10, the Digital Fairness Act, coming in 2026. Back to the EU, because they seem to be actually some of the only ones doing something progressive like that nowadays. It's going to tackle dark patterns, personalization, influencer marketing, and consent. Consent is such a big thing, guys, because we give it up all the time. We say we consent to things even though we have no idea what's actually being taken from us. You've heard of how much TikTok takes data from your phone and how much it's collecting on you. It's collecting probably every fucking word I'm saying right now, but influencer fraud is becoming real with like AI ripping off influencers. You guys have seen fake videos of people, right? There's hidden funnels of like scammers going online and with one click an AI generating a website that looks exactly like PayPal. So you think you're paying PayPal, but you're really paying some guy in Indonesia, right? And hacky systems are about to be outlawed in Europe. And again, some of those things were kind of already outlawed, but they're going to make more clear regulations behind it and make it more stringent. Because again, they don't want AI ripping off people's faces. And then there's a video of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson out there telling you to buy Viagra or whatever it is when he never actually consented to that. That's his face. You guys have heard of all the influencer rappers and like things like that are making music, but it's really just a fake clone voice of that person. And like, so there's got to be so much regulation coming out as to who owns that actual property. Is it the guy that used Drake's voice to make the song? Or is it Drake because it's his voice in the song? You know what I'm saying? Should Drake be owed something to that? So if your funnel is shady, right? If you're making a business, you guys are working in our community and your funnel is shady, future AI tools will expose it. Right now, it's your time to kill those manipulative tactics. Like you have to look over things and determine, am I on the right course? There's a market out there for like OnlyFans, right? There's like an AI OnlyFans where like people are creating fake women, right? That are like, they didn't exist, right? So you don't need like and a lot of times it's men, right? Because men can't do OnlyFans and see the same success. That's just honestly how it is. It's just a fact. It's not an opinion, because it is the truth. And men are like generating women bodies of themselves and like fake clones to like put themselves as women and selling content like that. But a lot of times they're not just generating this woman from scratch. They're using like a base model of some female that already exists. And so if some woman goes online and sees nude photos of herself, but in reality it's just an AI creating a nude photo that some guy was posing as her, is that wrong? Right? It should be. I would feel like it would be wrong. But again, that's not her technically. That's always an argument. But we need to just have regulation on this, because half of the shit like this isn't even regulated. So I'm just putting messages out and telling you guys how this works, because again, it's going to be very important going forward to have answers to this. All right, so let's change the topic a little bit. Let's get a little bit not depressing. I love you guys, right? This is I'm not here to like just make you scared or fearful, even though it seems like a lot of this is, because in reality, like humans are wired to be slow as fuck. We're sloths. Like when fire existed, it took us God knows how long just to contain a fire, to put the little rocks around the campfire, right? And so AI is moving so fast, and that's probably what makes it so dangerous, is humans are slow and AI is fast. And we have to figure out exactly what's going on, and not only that, but sit around in big congressional meetings and figure out why it's going on and what the purpose is. And I just want you to understand that things are going to move fast. Don't be in the mindset that you have to catch every little thing. I'm here to do that with you guys. I care about you, and that's why I want you to follow me and subscribe, because every time I go live, just pop in for 5 minutes, figure out what's going on, because I care about this, and I will actually make sure you guys are too. And when the end of the world is coming, right, when it all falls apart, I'm going to be the guy that's here telling you exactly how to handle it, because I have your best interests at heart, right? Served in the military. I want to help you people. I care about everybody, right? There's nobody, I don't hate anybody really intrinsically. I want us all to do well as a society. And I just want us to be careful about harnessing a technology we don't understand yet. And with that said, I think there's a lot of great ways to harness it that already exist. That link's in my bio. I'm not promoting that. Like, again, I have every right to promote it, but I don't want you guys to just think this is like a sales pitch. This is an actual informative news series of me helping you guys out. So we talked about like Humphrey AI, Wallace and Gromit, right? Like in these companies that are worried about their copyright data, regulation wars, Ubers, robo-taxis, and showing an AI isn't really optional anymore. It's kind of just inevitable. And building compliance now, or kind of just getting barred later from it. So I have the actual articles for all of these. It comes from The Guardian, myjournalcourier.com, The Times UK, like all these big sources. So you can go look them up if you want and read the official news sources. But who am I? Again, because I haven't been doing this that long. My name is Caleb Schulke. I'm on Rumble. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. And I'm here on TikTok until they ban me again, because they probably hate everything I'm saying. But you guys know how it is. Like, TikTok just bans you for this stuff. But hopefully you guys see the clarity in my messaging and the actual care I have. As much as I try to like shit on systems and things like that, I do really care about you. I see you watching. I see all of you hopping in and out, most of you out, because this is still a new thing. But in 6 months, I'm going to be such a big voice that you're just going to see me on your Reels page. And again, if you guys want to make money, I literally have told you exactly how to do that. So in my last video, I was saying, if you go into my bio on TikTok, Instagram, whatever, there's a link to a free community. Free, right? There's a paid community if you want to like be a business owner and you want to use AI in your systems. I teach you how to do that in there, and also how to like brand yourself to be resistance proof, right? But if you want to use AI today to make money, go on opus.clip. It lets you put in a YouTube video, a link to whatever. You put the link to the recording of this podcast or any of my YouTube videos. And then Opus Clip will make like 50 TikToks of me talking in the camera right now. You guys post that. It gets 10,000 views. We're paying out $3 per 1,000 views. That's $30 you make from putting a link in and then auto posting it. It also writes the caption for you. It puts the hashtags in, all that. So literally a click to make the TikToks and a click to post the TikToks, and you made $30. And you can do that 100 times, right? And just make a full-time income from clicking on your phone while you're sitting on the john, distracted. Or you can be an affiliate too. Have the link for my agency in the bio. And if somebody works with my agency to have us build an AI system for them, we're paying like $500 for that. So what you do is you do both, right? You post a TikTok of me talking, make an account for that. And in the bio, you put the link to our agency booking page. They'll go on and book, and they'll say that you referred them. And then when we close that, you're going to get a $500 payout into your bank account while you're also sitting on the toilet, probably because I don't know, I sit on the toilet a lot each day. But you're going to get $500, and you're going to get the $30 for that video, and followers. So the next video you put out, you're going to get even more views. You understand what I'm saying? You can make thousands of dollars, 5 figures a month, by clicking the link in my bio and just taking action. It's already set up. It's ready to go. I just need you bodies to help me work on this, because we're benefiting each other, right? It's not a scam. You're making money posting the videos. I'm getting publicity out of it, which is bringing more people into my program, which is giving the money to go into these things to pay you guys out. So it's like a cyclical system. You're helping me sell the system. The money's going back to you guys. I'm getting bigger because of it, and I can spread my message better and help you guys out. So, and also I can make money, right? Like, I'm not going to deny the fact that I'm a capitalist to a greedy dirtbag who's just trying to make as much money as possible, because I think we all are, right? But I just have a system where I can actually help the everyday person do that too, and not just be some corporate greedy scumbag that just puts all my money into Meta, right? So with that said, I care about you guys. I'm gonna let you guys go. I have like 5 different streams running right now. Let me check Instagram real quick. I think you guys are all in and we're loving this too. So every day, almost like multiple times a week, I'm gonna come back and do the same exact thing. I'm gonna keep streaming for you guys. And that's kind of why, right? Because we just launched this program. So we have an army of you guys doing these like TikToks and posting TikToks of me on different platforms and getting paid out. So I'm giving you a shit ton of content to use. I'm also vlogging every day. So you can like use everyday clips from my life. I'm going to let you guys just practice your content creation and get better at that stuff. So then when you start creating content for yourself, when you maybe launch a podcast someday, or you start your own TikTok channel, you already know exactly what to do to create the best videos out there. And you learned it all for free because you went to my bio. Does that make sense? Like, it really is a win-win. I give you the knowledge and tell you exactly how to do it where it looks aesthetic and cool like this. And you guys can make money learning it too for the first like time ever in history, right? And I can grow from that as well. So scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. I'll see you guys in the next couple of days here. Things are going to get busy, but I'm gonna bring different types of news. It's not just going to be AI. I'm going to talk more other topics too related to our world and the way things are going. But if you like my voice, if you like my mustache, the way I sound, go ahead, like, subscribe, and that's about it, guys. Like, I don't want to be greedy here. Have a great rest of your weekend, and see you soon.